For the third season in a row, it's Michigan State, it's North Carolina, and Matt Sheehan, it's the rubber match. Let's get a crossover going.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Tuesday, November 25th, aka Thanksgiving Eve. Welcome into this crossover edition of Locked On Spartans and Locked On Tar Heels. That's Matt Sheehan, the great host of Locked On Spartans. I'm Isaac Schade from Locked On Tar Heels, and we are elated to be with you two fan bases today as we get you ready for this matchup on Thanksgiving Day a couple days early, because we know you might be traveling and you need a little listening or watching, or maybe you're already with your family and Matt, you got to escape. And this is the perfect listener watch to get you to do that. You're joining us at the place to get your Tar Heels and Spartans content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the #1 sports podcast network in the entire Milky Way galaxy. It's great stuff. Thanks for making us your first listener watch on this Tuesday. And we want to send a special shout out to all the everydayers who have joined us today. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if that bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. Download it and get started today. Matt, full transparency for everyone behind the scenes. We are recording this on Monday night. Yep. So as we record this, we do not know the outcome of either Michigan State, East Carolina on Tuesday or North Carolina, St. Bonaventure on Tuesday. We're going to assume what's going to happen in both of those games, but crazier things have gone down.
On this show, my side of things, Locked On Spartans, we jinx things to oblivion on this show. So allow me to just do this for both of us here. I'm going to knock on wood before going any further, but assuming that both of our teams escape these upcoming triple overtime games on Tuesday against the Bonnies and the Pirates. Look, for Michigan State side of things, and this is a Thanksgiving pun, this is going to be so just disgusting. People are going to turn this off. This is all gravy here for Michigan State coming up on Thursday, because this non-conference schedule, we've had Arkansas, won that game. Kentucky, you won that game. Now the next two giants, North Carolina and Duke, we're already guaranteed to go 500 in the non-conference against those four giants. Anything on top, beating your Tar Heels, beating the Blue Devils right after, it's all gravy. I'm already pretty satisfied with this non-conference. But Isaac, over there on your side of the aisle, what does this game mean for your undefeated Tar Heels if you could beat Michigan State on Thursday here?
Well, you know what's funny, Matt, in almost direct correlation to what you just said, North Carolina has had one such game of that higher magnitude. That was beating Kansas when they still had Darren Peterson, by the way. I think that's an important thing to remember. Yep. But North Carolina is entering a stretch right now where they've got to go through all of that you just laid out. The St. Bonaventure game is no joke. I think the East Carolina game probably a little more of an easier thing. Yeah, right. Yeah. But the Bonnies are a good A-10 school. And then you guys on Thursday at Kentucky in Rupp next Tuesday for the ACC-SEC Challenge, and then hosting Georgetown that next Sunday, who is, I still don't think they're Patrick Ewing's. I don't mean Patrick Ewing coach. I mean Patrick Ewing player.
Of course. Right.
But they're not back to that level, but they are much improved this year. So Carolina's in this 4-game stretch where we're going to learn a whole lot about who and what they are. And so kind of similar to what you're saying, really feel like the Tar Heels need to obviously beat Georgetown and St. Bonaventure, which we already know, as you all are listening to or watching this, the St. Bonaventure result, but need to go at least 1-1 in the Michigan State Kentucky games. Mm-hmm. Preseason, I would have said the Kentucky game would have been much more difficult, both because of what everyone thought of Kentucky and of location being in Rupp. But now we know they're without Jalen Lowe right now. They're still without Jaden Quaintance, and they haven't looked that great. But it's in Rupp, so that could still be difficult. But on paper, to me at least, this game, Michigan State, Carolina, is going to be the much more difficult of the two.
And we're going to see probably, maybe not even probably actually, the most difficult player that we've faced so far this season. And that's not to throw a slight at Arkansas. They certainly have had some good players. Sure. I think Darius Acuff, baller. Kentucky, Otega Owe. Yeah, he is a fine player. Didn't necessarily play like it, but hey, maybe that's just because Michigan State's defense that good. However, We have not seen a Caleb Wilson yet. Now, this kid is a top 10 recruit, and to match that, he's going to most likely be a top 10 pick in the NBA draft coming up. He has scored 20-plus points in 4 of your 5 games over there, Isaac, and he's also shooting 69% or better from the field in 4 of those 5 games. My question is, I'm scared. That's the question.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got for you. This guy, he's good. Why? What makes him so special, Isaac?
Well, the reason his field goal percentage is so high, which I looked at, so I keep really detailed records. Like I have my own record book. That's the level
Love
of
that.
And if the season ended right now, he would have the 5th best single season field goal percentage in Carolina history.
That's not bad.
He dunks everything. This dude has 24 dunks on the season right now, Matt. It's crazy. Through 5 games. That's just shy of 5 dunks a game. But what makes him special, to me, what stands out, is not only is he that level of talented, but 2 things in particular. He is the first player on the floor for any loose ball ever.
Okay.
When your most talented NBA prospect is not a prima donna and is willing to do that, dude, like that sets the tone for the entire team. I don't care if you're a freshman or senior. When your superstar does that, you follow suit. Secondly, one of the biggest issues for North Carolina last year, and I think Spartans fans saw this in that game last year, is that Carolina just didn't have the same level of leadership. When the 2 teams played a couple years ago in the NCAA tournament, when Carolina had Cormac Ryan, Harrison Ingram, there was a lot of leadership on that team, interestingly, from those 2 transfers. Last year, that was not RJ Davis. He was not a vocal leader. That is Caleb Wilson. He's out like he was leading the cheers on the 50-yard line for Carolina's football game last Saturday against Duke. He's out in the community, like just he's a big ball event. Like, you know how you and I are both pretty high energy guys, Matt? We talk about that pretty regularly.
Sure.
Like,
and both 6'10", like, which is the best part. Like, both of us are very tall gentlemen. So we're very alike to him. Yes.
Yes. So he would fit right in with us. None of the 3 of us could get a word in edgewise because that's who he is. And as you mentioned, the 6'10" doesn't hurt, but he can shoot. He's to most NBA draft analysts, he is the best freshman defender in this class. So he's doing it all. He's switchable. He can shoot. He can drive. He desires to play defense. So he's got a little bit of everything. My question, though, and folks watching can see this on the side, is Caleb Wilson tough enough? He's a little bit of a slider build. And as we know, when you come to play a Tom Izzo team, you got to be ready for a rock fight. Really curious to see how he holds up in this game.
There is definitely a physical card when you play Michigan State. I mean, we talked about it with Locked On Razorbacks going in, Locked On Kentucky going in, and they both said, we know there's going to be some physicality just at an absolute baseline with Michigan State, and, well, it was there. Arkansas and Kentucky couldn't push through it, but, man, this guy is just a different skill set than anything that we saw from Arkansas or Kentucky. That's no slight against them. They're all fine players in their own, but we ain't talking about a fine player, Isaac. This guy.
That's true.
This guy
and the other thing with Carolina, I think that helps is that unlike last year where Carolina was going 6'8" and 6'9" in the front court, their starting 3, 4, and 5 are all 6'10" or taller right now. Jaron Stevenson is 6'10".
Yeah.
Caleb Wilson 6'10", and then Henry Vasar, the Arizona transfer, is 7 feet tall. Not to mention Luka Bogovac at the 2 is 6'5", and Kyan Evans, the starting point guard, is 6'2". So North Carolina has gone from severely undersized to right now at KenPom, they're listed as the 4th tallest team in the nation.
And that's actually, and this isn't planned ahead of time. We didn't share notes or anything. That was next to my list. Is that your starting 5 is 7 feet, 6'10", 6'10", 6'6", 6'2". And also, well, I'm sure that helps into forcing teams into the 4th lowest effective field goal percentage in the country. You guys have the number 1 2-point field goal defense in the country as well. Is it just because you're tall, or is there something else going on with that defense that you want to shine a light on here?
That's a great question. It's both. It is that, like the length and the size and the athleticism. It's that whole thing of like, it makes you think twice every time you come to the rim.
I bet.
But one of the things that helps is, the defensive players where it's like, hey, you can't just be a box score looker because they do their work early. It's not necessarily about the blocks and the steals, although they do some of that, but they do their work early, stay locked in together defensively. That's what Carolina really has with Caleb Wilson, with Jaron Stevenson. That's probably his greatest asset, is his ability. Like when he played for Alabama last year as a 6'10" guy, they sicked him on 6'1" RJ Davis, and he shut him down.
Gotcha.
because of his athleticism as a 6'10" player.
Yeah.
And so Carolina has these great individual defenders, although one interesting point in this game is that Seth Trimble, Carolina's senior captain and best individual defender, broke his arm at a team workout 2 days after the Kansas win. And so Carolina has been fine after that, but it's because it's been 3 bye games. This is the first opportunity to see Carolina against a high major opponent and how the defense plays without Seth Trimble since that incident. So there are great individual defenders, but that's going to be a unique challenge, especially when you try to think about shutting down the nation's leading assist man in Jeremy Fears, right? Because he would be on him.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to talk more about Jeremy Fears and, of course, the rest of the cast of characters that we have here because it's working in East Lansing. Tom Izzo ball, it was gone for like a few years, but my God, ever since last year and what seems to be this year, it's back, Isaac. Oh, and I love it. It's great. It's great, man.
It's so back, and that's where we're going to turn our attention next. I'm going to climb out of the hot seat. I'm going to put Sheehan right smack dab in it, and it's time for me to grill him on the Spartans. Coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about our good friends at FanDuel. Matthew, the NBA is back. There's no better place to get in on the action than at FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Say you miss the start of the game, or maybe you want to ride the hot hand. FanDuel has live bets on everything from who's going to score next to fourth quarter comebacks and more. Plus, you can combine all your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. Matt, it keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. I love it because with the NBA, you know, there's always going to be one of those fourth quarter comebacks. So it's a great opportunity to get in on it live.
I mean, it seem like there's at least 3 of them every single night. And honestly, it keeps you entertaining games that otherwise you wouldn't care about. Like, I know this isn't NBA, but Rams-Bucks the other night, I couldn't care less about those 2 teams. But a same-game parlay, 4 legs, I had 3 of them done in the first half. And it kept me around in the second half, which was otherwise a snooze fest. So, hey, thanks for FanDuel to keep me
Did you win? Did the fourth one hit?
No.
Dang it.
No. But we got close, and we got to live a little bit. So that's all. Yeah.
Well, as we record, the line for this game is not yet at FanDuel, but I can guarantee you it's probably going to be like 1 or 2 points in one way or the other. I bet it's my guess, Sheehan, is Sparty 1.5 or 2.5 when it comes out. What is your guess?
Ooh, I was going to say Tar Heels 1.5, but God, it's going to be razor thin regardless.
It is. Either way, good luck to those of you to get in on that. Maybe an over-under would be a better shot than the spread in this thing. Because right now, FanDuel is giving new customers, maybe just like you, $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head on over to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Sheehan. Let's turn our attention to East Lansing and the Breslin Center. I wish this would be fun if it was home and home. That'd be a great series. Can we make that happen?
I wouldn't hate that. Hey, you remember like way, way, way back in the day, Detroit was going to host a Final Four soon, and they had this giant basketball at Ford Field. Well, hey, 2027, they're hosting it in April, the Final Four, that is. Why not just get another basketball going? Like, why not just bring North Carolina in for one of those bad boys? I wouldn't hate that.
Are you referring to the 08-09 season?
Like, just the regular season is all I want to talk about. That's all I can. That's all that I am.
I don't. Okay, Matt, I referenced it at the end of the last segment, but Jeremy Fears now is averaging not just Big Ten leading, a nation leading 10.4 assists a game to just 2 turnover. Dude, that is a 5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio.
It's insane.
Yeah. What is it that he's doing so well?
Man, he just sees the game so much differently, doesn't he? I mean, there's literally a game earlier this year against Arkansas where he pulled the clipboard out of Izzo's hands during a timeout, and he drew up the play for freshman Jordan Scott to have a backdoor cut, and it absolutely barbecued the Razorbacks for a nice clutch bucket. So, I mean, he just sees the game in about, how would you describe it actually? Half the speed because it's so slow, or he's thinking so fast that it's 2 times the speed? Anyway, you slice it. He sees the game at a different speed than everyone else. I mean, it is incredible. And it's not like he's doing it with a bunch of driving kicks. Hey, I'm going to find the guy that's going to just cash in an open 3-pointer, because by and large on the season, we don't shoot the 3-point ball that well. So, like, it is a lot of good pick and rolls. It is a lot of good cuts to the hoop. But, man, this guy is just cool, calm, collected. He also sets the tone on defense on the other side. And he will, as unassuming as it is, he has a very friendly Mr. Rogers-esque face. Like, you would never guess it. He will let the other player know about it for the full 40 minutes of the game. At least once per game, a ref has to come up to him and say, you gotta dial it back, man. So I love the tenacity. I love his vision. I just love Jeremy Fears, man. He's great. He's special.
How could you not, man? A point guard's point guard, one of those guys that, as an old schooler, we love to watch.
Yeah.
Now, Matt, here's the thing. You referenced it earlier. Wins already over Arkansas at home in the Breslin Center. A tough 3-point win. And then last Tuesday night in the Champions Classic, a game that a lot of people didn't pick correctly. But for those who might have checked it out, all four hosts from Locked On College good grief. The four Locked On hosts of those four schools and I did a roundtable ahead of that game with me wearing my Locked On College basketball hat, not my Locked On Tar Heels hat.
That's right.
And Matt, all of us other than Locked On Kentucky host Lance Daw picked Michigan State to win.
That's right.
My dude, that was not just a win. That was an obliteration. I do not care that there was no Jalen Lowe. I do not care that there was no Jaden Quaintance. It's still Kentucky, and it's still a crud ton of talent. Why, Jeremy Fears aside, we've already talked about that. What else is it that Michigan State is doing so well early this season?
I'm going to go back to that conversation because our guy over at Locked On Kentucky, Lance Daw, who does a fantastic job.
Yes, he does.
This is right after I said my prediction of Michigan State 72, Kentucky 68. He said he would burn Rupp Arena down if they don't get at least 70. And that, like, Kentucky, even through all their struggles, somewhere is like obviously a very good offensive team. But they didn't let Kentucky get to 70. And I don't know if Lance is still out as a free man or if they got him for that arson, whatever it is. But, I mean, him and everyone else, like, they can now see that, like, Michigan State's defense will always, in theory, be a reason they can win any game. I mean, they did it against Arkansas, and they made one three-pointer. Michigan State made one three-pointer, that is. But that physicality, that defense, and that's by way of having, solid individual players. Like I said, Jeremy Fears is good. Carson Cooper, our senior big man, he's come a long way. Ooh. But there is something about continuity on your roster year after year, and it really shows itself early on in a season. Maybe I'm putting too much stock into it. I don't think so, but when I'm seeing this team, their switches, their communication, their cohesion on defense is right where you'd see a lot of other teams come February. There really isn't much drop-off on the back cuts, off-ball screens. They just work in such good harmony where at some points it really feels like they're playing with six guys on defense. They are absolutely forcing other teams into just brutal shot decisions. So that's how they did it against Kentucky. That's how they did it against Arkansas, especially with the struggling offense on our end. But, man, that defense right now at top 10 in defensive efficiency. But you don't even need to watch the stats. You can just look at these games, and it's brutal for these other teams, Isaac. That's what we got going here.
And, okay, I got to shout out my guy because Coen Carr is from Dutchtown High School, which is like 5 minutes from my house that I grew up in. And so usually I'm cheering like crazy for this guy, but I can't on Thursday, but I want to because he's wildly uber athletic and I love him and I think he's so great. Like with Coen Carr, did I say Cam Carr?
You did, but that's okay. Now I'm following you. So we're back on track now. Yeah. So say, I know he's talking about someone on our team that's athletic. It's got to be Coen Carr.
Yes. I am not trying to combine Cam Ward and Coen Carr, nor should I be talking about Carson Cooper. There's too many C's on this team. And
we are heavy on the C's, man. Yeah, we are. We lead the Big Ten in C's, I think. Yeah.
Yes. So forgive me. I was meaning to say Coen Carr, who went to Dutchtown High School, just a couple minutes from my hometown. My house I grew up in. This dude, when we talk about Caleb Wilson and his athleticism and all that, Coen Carr is the best athlete in literally every game he plays in. Would be rivaled by Seth Trimble if he was playing in this game, but he's not. What does Carolina need to do to slow down? I know he's not a great shooter. You talked about Michigan State in totality not being a great shooter, but that athleticism, man, it just jumps off the page. How can Carolina neutralize that?
Yeah, transition defense is where I would start, certainly, because, and maybe this is more of a home at Breslin Center thing, and this goes beyond the scoreboard, but, man, when he throws down an alley-oop in transition or a dunk in transition, scoreboard will read 2 points. It feels like 8 points in the Breslin Center. I'm sure it feels like 4 points just on a neutral or away court. So, look, I was at the U of D game. They tried their darndest to, get someone out in transition just to mark him. I mean, he's on every single scouting report possible. But eventually they got him on a 2-on-1, elevators going up, and he almost concussed himself on the rim. So, transition is where it starts. I do wonder with what they're going to do for him in the half-court offense. Do you kind of just force him to shoot? Yes, he is shooting 37% from three. 2 of those just came in the last game, and that's on 8 attempts for the whole year. So he's not a bona fide three-point shooter. Do you kind of just egg him on to do it because you don't want him doing any damage, whether it be scoring down low or muddying up the offensive boards inside? You kind of just try to push him outside the arc as much as you can in this game. I think that's what you got to do. But, man, it's tough to slow down an athlete like this freaky, man.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, last question on this side of things before we kind of get to game predictions and stuff, Matt. You mentioned it earlier. Michigan State is not setting the world on fire from beyond the arc. In fact, as a team right now, under 30%, 285th in the nation. But yet, they find a way, the Spartans do, to be wildly effective.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's the defense, as you said, that it's the calling card, it's the DNA, it's whatever you want to say for this team. But how does the offense continue to do enough, even when you can pack it in the paint against them?
It's a lot of action off ball, right? And then Jeremy Fears is going to find that, and he's going to connect. This team does lead the nation in assist rate, so it's not just Jeremy Fears doing it all. But, hey, you know what? These other guys can go out and dish some assists, too. So it is a lot of down-low action. It is guys finding the holes once double teams do come. And I got to give credit to Cam Ward. Freshman, just slid inside the top 50. He wasn't this bona fide 5-star. But, man, what I really realized in that Arkansas game, just second game in his collegiate career, smart, instinctual kid. He always finds the open spot. And, hey, you know what? When he finds the open spot, his teammates find the open guy down low, and that's a dunk and a layup. So, yeah, not necessarily a great shooting team, but we will use all 30 seconds of this shot clock. We will run about, 15 back cuts and screens, and we'll make it happen one way or another here. And, every other day. Transition, sometimes. Yeah.
So it's going to be up to North Carolina to see if they can stay locked in defensively, not give up with 5 seconds left on the shot clock and think you've done something. You got to stay a full 30. And then because Michigan State's such a good offensive rebounding team, if you're the Tar Heels, you got to finish each possession with a defensive rebound, which wildly enough, how about this, Matt Sheehan? St. Bonaventure is 6th in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage right now. That's crazy. Anyway.
Wow.
You mentioned, you're right. Like what? You mentioned the assist rate. Yeah. For those who aren't aware, Michigan State's assist percentage is 75%. That means 3 out of every 4 buckets are tied to have an assist tied to them. That is absolutely insane. Matt, take us on out of here.
You know what? We got to do the thing that all talking heads do, right, Isaac? We got to throw a prediction on this bad boy. The computers are predicting a 1-point win. Will we agree with it, though? I think that'll keep people around for segment 3. The computers over at barttorvik.com. They have North Carolina 74, the Michigan State basketball Spartans 75. They are predicting a 1-point win for Michigan State. To be precise, they actually have this spread at just 0.8. So a pick 'em. Of course. And what else could it be in times like this? So, Isaac, I will let you waltz first. Again, 75-74 is what this fancy computer over here is telling me. Are you going to line yourself with that? Are you going to say UNC victory? Are you going to go higher than both teams in the 70s? Take it away.
You know what? I like that score in the 70s because I think it is going to be a tough game with some more defense played than you might otherwise see.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I remember back, like it's so burned into my brain. In fact, I went back and watched it earlier today just to like sit in the agony a little longer. Elliot Cadeau's missed layup last year with about 20 seconds left on the clock in regulation.
Yeah, right.
That would have given Carolina a lead. In fact, I meant to look at what the score was in that moment, and like that would be my score prediction. Like had he made that layup and whatever that score was. Now, obviously, Carolina has another defensive possession they would have had to have after that. There's no guarantee that the Tar Heels win that game. But whatever that score would have been, that's what I'm going with. Carolina by 1, but the made layup to win the game. But either way, yes, I agree with the computers. I agree with what we think FanDuel will say, or that this game is going to be a 1, maybe 2 possession game because of free throws or something, but it is going to be tight. Guarantee you that.
I had the play-by-play of that game in my other window, so I actually can give you that answer right now. If Cadeau made that layup, it would have been 81-80 North Carolina lead with about 19 seconds left, as you said.
Okay, 81-80. That's my prediction.
There we go. Just an absolute poetic final score here. I'm going to go somewhere in the 70s.
Yeah.
And this is going to upset people over their Thanksgiving dinner travels or Thanksgiving dinner tables, whatever you have. I am concerned about the length and the height for North Carolina. And especially with Michigan State not being this, great bombs over Baghdad. We'll just shoot the ball over the defense. This won't be a problem. Sure, we shot 50% against Kentucky. That's not really who Michigan State is. They're probably somewhere closer to this 30% shooting team that they are on the whole season. I do worry about that if they can't get anything done in the paint. So, on the contrary, yes, I think Michigan State shows up with a good physical defense. I do think that this will be 74-70 North Carolina, though. I hope I'm wrong. I want to smile Thanksgiving, whether it's the Lions beating the Packers to start the day, or Michigan State, North Carolina, or don't threaten me with a good time. Both. How about both my teams just win? How about I smile about sports for the first time in forever? Like, that wouldn't be the worst way to spend a Thanksgiving, but that's what I'm going to go with. So, this is going to upset Spartan fans, but I got to be honest with myself. I got to be honest.
You know what? I appreciate that. And it is like an interesting rubber match after the teams played in the NCAA tournament second round 2 years ago. And funnily enough, during Feast Week last year in the third place game of the Maui Invitational, really interesting stuff there. Matt, what's interesting that I love that the NCAA is doing is starting to tag the NFL Thanksgiving Day games with a high-level basketball game with a similarly interested fan base. Last year, I remember that Illinois and Arkansas played right after the Bears game. This year, Michigan State playing right after the line. Like that, I don't know the level of intentionality of that, but if it is, that is such brilliant marketing and branding.
I mean, 2 years in a row really has me thinking, okay, that's a genius move. And not to give the network's credit or anything, because as my YouTube fees have doubled in the last year, why would I say anything nice about anyone related to television? But
thank you.
I'll be damned, Isaac. They're cooking though. I'll tell you what, because most people in America will switch to that other football game on the other channel. We just kept it on the Illinois game last year, and no one complained because my God, that was a banger to start the game last year. Dude. So I mean, we kept it tuned. I think Fox is cooking something, man. I think they're onto something here, and I want to keep it around.
One thing back on the game and a couple matchups that I specifically want to mention that we didn't say yet. I know we already made our predictions. I'm very curious in the Jackson Kohler Henry Vasar matchup at the 5. That matchup to me is wildly intriguing, with Kohler basically averaging a double, he's like 9.8. Let's call it a double-double average, shall we? And Henry Vasar really popping now that he's in a starting role for North Carolina. I think the gravity of Caleb Wilson helps him a lot. So I think on one bookend, that matchup's really intriguing to me. And on the other bookend, with Carolina not having Seth Trimble, I'm nervous about how freely Mr. Fears is able to operate in this game. And that alone could be the thing that tells the tale.
That's, is the second matchup that really intrigues me more is the lack of Seth Trimble against Jeremy Fears, because like you said, it's been bye games leading up to this point ever since Trimble had that horrible accident, which, my God, don't read any details about that if you just want to have a good Thanksgiving. God bless that kid. How has it looked though? Is it a drastic drop off from the point guard position, or I guess Trimble's position, or where's it at?
That's a great question. The nice thing is that Kyan Evans, the Colorado State transfer coming over, has done very, very well running the point. And that was the projection all along, is that he would take Elliot Cadeau's spot and that Seth Trimble would be the starting 2. Seth is not much of a three-point shooter, and so it helps to have Luka Bogovac, the transfer from Montenegro, and Kyan Evans, who are both really good three-point shooters. That allows you to start Seth Trimble. But he's, regardless of what position he's playing offensively, he's always going to guard the best defensive player. And Kyan Evans has been great as the starting point guard, has a really high assist to turnover ratio, not quite obviously to the range of Jeremy Fears.
Yeah, of course.
But again, because Carolina hasn't had to, Trimble had the defensive assignment on Darren Peterson and held him to 22 points, which is
not bad.
He would have gone for 35 that night. You know what I mean?
Actually not bad.
So this is going to be the first opportunity to see how a true, honest to goodness point guard will do things. And so I can't accurately answer your question, to be honest with you.
How about this? You know what? Let me get just one more question off about your roster here.
Yep.
Bench player that I should be concerned will go off in this game, because the last few years, we really had a knack of just letting a guy go nuclear off the bench. But I feel like it's been a while since it's actually happened. So I don't know if we finally have solved that problem or if we're due here. So what's it going to be, Isaac? Who off the bench that averages like 4 points is going to go off for a smooth 18 in Fort Myers?
It's a great question. The answer to that has been somewhat mitigated, again, because of the Trimble of it all, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it would be Jaren Stevenson coming off the bench if it were not for that. So I would say the guy that has the best opportunity probably for that would be Jonathan Powell, the West Virginia transfer.
Okay.
Who can, when he gets hot, just bomb away from beyond the arc. That was his calling card last year for the Mountaineers. He's a sophomore and can really, really get going. But we'll see. The other thing is freshman, the backup point guard is Derek Dixon, who's a 6'5" guard, and he's more of a scoring guard that's learning point guard. So he's got an opportunity to really get hot as well. In fact, he was in Carolina's last game. Yeah. So I'd say probably one or two of those guys. It's not going to be anybody in the front court that I'd be concerned about. So those would be the most likely candidates in my mind.
You know what? Like for our bench too, it's the same thing. It's Trey Fort, 2 guy, and he's been on like 1,000 colleges. He's been in every single time zone in the last 5 years, even counting Hawaii and Alaska. He's been everywhere. But hey, you know what? He's with the big boys now after transferring here from Samford. It's been hot and cold, and that's all he's been his career. This isn't a surprise to anyone, but never tell Trey Fort that man thinks that he is 2015 Steph Curry with how green that light is, which I like. You know what? Like, he'll never stop himself from shooting. Tom Izzo will. He'll just put him on the bench if it gets too much.
Yes.
But you need a guy, especially with our 3-point struggles, like we said, that just goes out there, and it's not horrible when he shoots. He's shooting at, like, what is it? I got the percentage up right here. It's 28% right now. On his career, he's closer to 34, 35%. Hey, sling that ball, young man. let's queue up 7 of these 3-point balls. Let's see if 3 of them hit. Why not? Let's get nuts. So Trey Fort's going to be our microwave alert guy from the bench too.
Well, and I love it. Like, I'm always cheering for. So my best friend is a sports administration professor at Samford, and so I've got a place in my heart for Trey Fort in a big way. So would love for him to have a good game. Another, I feel like we should probably mention is Kurt Tang, who had a great game against Kentucky, and so like he's another one that I'm concerned about too.
Kurt, you know what? Starting, he was the starter too, and I am interested to see who's going to be starting at the 2 here for this upcoming game, because it was Kurt Tank starting during the exhibitions, then he lost it to Trey Fort, and now like I feel like it's kind of in the balance right now because Izzo doesn't trust Fort's defense as much as he trusts Tang's defense. But yeah, Tang did lose his starting role very early on in the season for a reason. The shots were going in, and I was starting to get a little concerned. Sophomore, coming off very limited opportunity as a freshman. Oh, this is a really slow start, but good God. When you go off for, 15 points at Madison Square Garden against that Kentucky team, just like that the previous 4 or 5 games, however many it was, including the exhibitions, that's just been erased from my memory. You're good in my book, Kurt Tank, so really interested to see who's going to be the starting at the 2, but hey, that's just ride the hot hand as far as the minutes go the rest of the game after the opening tip starts.
All right, Matt Sheehan, this is going to be an electric game. Absolutely cannot wait for it on Thanksgiving Day. It's at a weird time when probably a lot of people are either eating, getting ready to eat, eating up, doing the puzzle, whatever. Make sure you carve out time. This game is slated for 4:30 Eastern on Thursday on Thanksgiving Day. It'll be on Fox, man. Again, absolutely love it. Great stuff. Best of luck to the Spartans, Matt Sheehan. Best of luck to the Tar Heels. These are, and I think bottom line for this thing is I'm really excited and interested to see how both these teams fare season long, and both teams that are cruising towards having a good seed in March, and can't wait for that.
I was going to say I hope to see you later this season, but no, no. I mean, I hope we're on opposite sides of the bracket when it's all said and done.
Hey, let's meet in Indy. Let's meet in Indy. Yes.
Hey, that sounds like a good time. I'd do it. Why not? Sure.
Heck yeah. I'm here for it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here with Matt and I today. For Locked On Spartans fans, for Locked On Tar Heels fans, man, we love it. Yes, our teams are at odds, but can't we all just be college basketball fans on this Thanksgiving, right? Like
joyous
come
day.
around the college basketball campfire together, sing a little kumbaya, and then go beat the poop out of each other for 2 hours, right? I love it. I'm here. All right, you guys, thanks so much for being with us here on the show. Make sure you check out everything Matt's doing over at Locked On Spartans at Sheehan_sports on the Twitter machine. I'm at Isaac Schade, 1 S, 2 A's, and then there's a C in Shade. It's weird. I know. I get it. Thanks again to all you everydayers for joining us here at the #1 sports podcast network in the world. It's hard to believe that we get the honor of being part of this, and it's all because of all of you. We'll be back with you again. Matt, I'll be going live post-game after the game. When will you be up with your folks?
I will also be as soon as I can after the game against East Carolina. So look for like 3:30ish, 4ish. But yeah, we'll be talking about what happened, this game, some more football, I guess. Yeah, we'll be back soon.
It's gonna be great stuff. All right, you guys. Thank you for making Locked On Tar Heels and Locked On Spartans part of your listen every day, where we're bringing it to you, your team. Until next time, when we're right back with you for Locked On Spartans and Locked On Tar Heels. Peace.